A man walks along a pavement holding the hand of his beloved grandchild when they reach a tiny, nondescript bit of wall sticking out into it. He stops walking, having to pull at the child, leans against a tiny, nondescript bit of wall, and gestures to the surrounding area, saying those words which all Gibraltarians use to mark the passage of time in this world. Yo me bañaba ahí de Chico. And proceeds to tell the boy a story about the many times he jumped off that wall into the sea. Suddenly, all of those memories come flooding in of fun-filled summers, of lifelong friendships, rides on granddad's boats, the sound of your granny's voice calling you up to lunch. And that lunch, it was a Sunday, and Sundays at granny's house was roto. The man wipes away a single runaway tear as he recomposes himself. His entire childhood wrapped up in a tiny, nondescript bit of wall. The child looks around him and is very confused. The nearest body of water is nowhere in sight. Jumping off from here into the sea, my granddad's either a fool, a liar, or a superhero. And that's just the way it is, unfortunately. Gibraltar grew up. It had to. The town grew until our city walls burst at the seams, and when these walls could no longer protect us and the land no longer hold us, we took from the sea. Although this is a phenomenon which begins a lot further back in time than people may realize. It was in the late 1800s when they started building the dockyard. And that was our first foray into reclamation at a large scale. In fact, this red line shows us what Gibraltar's shoreline looked like before this happened, so you can have an appreciation for how much we've grown. Now, as your cartographer, I'm the person who metaphorically holds Gibraltar up against the doorpost and scratches out that little notch. It's my privilege to record how we grow. And I can assure you, we've grown a lot. Now, the image in front of you shows two things. It shows you a where, but it also shows you a when. The where, it's obvious. And the when is 2003. Next year, this image will be 20 years old. Put things into perspective, a lot of the children who were born that year will be well into university by now. So let's do something. Let's use close-ups of this image to remind ourselves just how much we've changed since then. Won't be able to show you everything, but I will show you as many of the biggest changes as I possibly can. I mentioned in my blurb in the Chronicle, bring your running shoes. Here we go. Western Beach, right? We have a new car park there that's been reclaimed from the ocean, and the old small boats marina has disappeared from there. We can cross the road and see the old airport terminal. We have that old guardhouse where we used to have that statue of the soldier holding out his keys. And this car park has gone, as has the depot that's right next door. Driving down Winston Churchill Avenue, we'll get to the sundial, turn left, and let's go into Devil's Tower Road. The building with the blue roof is St. Teresa's Church, just so, because you will get lost. And we have Clement Suites, we have that new roundabout, we have Philomena House, and the park and ride where the old MOD stores used to be. Carrying along up Devil's Tower Road, we get to the entrance to Eastern Beach. And General Sikorsky's memorial is no longer there. Now we have a multi-story car park. Beachview Terraces is where the old aerial farm used to be. And now there's other buildings obviously being constructed there. Driving even further along up the same road, just before we reached the Caleta Palace, Little Genoa wasn't there in 2003. And those of you who grew up in Catalan Bay may remember St. Peter's School. Carrying on up, Sandy Bay in 2003 was not particularly sandy. Right? And if we carry on driving just a little bit further to a road which tragically is named for a young man who lost his life. If you remember driving around those massive tanks, right, before all that development happened to make our road safe from rockfall. Turn around, come all the way back, right? And we're on Bayside Road, right? We've got this, all that green is the stadium. We've got the World Trade Center there today. And you'll appreciate how much the stadium has grown since 2003. And let's cross the road again to Laguna Estates. Some of you may remember, well, no, it wasn't that long ago, I suppose, the old Notre Dame School and the Adventure Playground. Now we have Notre Dame and St. Anne's there today. Driving along, Glacis Road, Ocean Spa Plaza at the site of the old Med Rowing Club. Now, can we even call this La Curva al Med anymore? We have trade winds, we have Ocean Village, the casino, the Sunborn Hotel, and all the other plazas. And just across the road, with that fountain, which shall not be named, we have the market clock and the big BP petrol station. Now, I used to have to walk under that canopy on a daily basis on my way to school. Going past Water Gardens, sorry about that, where Montscalpe Muse is now. In 2003, we had the old coach park. Across the road from there was the old government garage where the new comprehensives are today. And they built Albert Riso House right there. Carry on, drive around Gib 5, or actually no, before you drive around Gib 5, all those Bassadoni cars where Waterport Terraces is today. I like the fact I keep hearing, it's true, the Kingdom Hall of the Jehovah's Witnesses, we have the new bathing pavilion. And at least in this image, half of Westview Park before it got washed away in 2008. Right, so you've got Morrison's there on the top left, and at the bottom of that image, you have the rest of Westview Park Promenade, and Europlaza was still just a building site. Queensway, Chatham Counterguard, the center of modern day social life, was a depot. It was fenced off at either end. Bishop Fitzgerald's and Governor's Meadow schools are no longer there. And Charles Rousseau House, where my granny lives, is built there, right? Queensway, this is a particularly busy image where we had the old generating station. We have that beautiful multi-story car park. And we have dock number 4, where the Sea Scouts used to meet on a weekly basis when I was a Sea Scout, so I can't say on the naval grounds, but we can say of dock number 4, que yo me bañaba ahí, de Chico. HMS Rook is a flattened wasteland, and Mid Harbour's estate was built on the sea. You'll remember, well, in fact, I remember playing football before the NOP car park was a car park, and now it's Commonwealth Park. The old technical college the old yacht club, where the big roundabout is today. King's Wharf is built here now, and the small boats marina fills that amount of blue. Moving further along, we've got the island, we have the sails, a couple of housing developments, loads more small boats in Coaling Island, and we reach Grand Parade. Now, as a child of the Humphreys, I particularly lament the Queen Cinema, which is now a car park. And you may remember Patio Chico, again, a car park today. In the town area, we have the entrance to the old St. Bernard's Hospital, which is gone, which is obviously the old building made its way, was developed into schools. And in this particular image, you can still see the carcass of the Theatre Royal. Going up to Arengo's Palace Lane, right? We've got a brand new development going up there now. And this car park is now a bigger car park. Moorish Castle, the old prison disappeared. And just in case we didn't have enough, there's another car park that's gone up there today. Pues se quejan que no hay sitio para aparcar. In Rosa Road, Old St. Joseph School is now part of Plata Villa, and South Jumpers Bastion now houses the Gibraltar Broadcasting Corporation. A bit further along the road, we have Roja Lane, El Patio Chamari. You'll never guess what that is today. It's a car park, because we only got one last time. And we have another car park, the Anchorage and Cumberland and Bayview Terraces. In Roja Parade, you may remember the Roja tanks, which made way for Nelson's View. Drive all the way back, come past the Piccadilly, and driving up La Cuesta Rock Hotel, you'll see the old casino where I had my first big job as a bingo caller back in the day. And that little bridge which you used to drive under, which let all the customers into the casino. Driving along, the 1772 club doesn't have a roof anymore. Janista House is built right there, and Buena Vista Barracks, which now has all that affordable housing. They gave me 3. In Windmill Hill, we have a new prison, we have a new stadium, right? In Europa Advanced Road, you'll see El Quemadero, and just up the road, and I know this is a morbid joke, but it has to be done, where Governor's Cottage used to be, now there's a different type of quemadero. And I wanted the last one at Europa Point, right? Those of you of a certain generation may remember Gogol's Disco, right? There was lots of beautification done. General Sikorsky moved from the MOT right there. Harding's Battery was still buried. We've got a new stadium, and the last one had to be the last shop in Europe where there was much cheapness. The images we have just seen show how much the face of Gibraltar has changed in just under 2 decades. And even between now and the time that this talk is aired, we will have changed again. The Caleta Palace, for example, is earmarked for demolition and will probably soon be gone, at least in its current guise. In our lifetime, we will see countless buildings come and go. The Gibraltar that we inherited will not be the Gibraltar that we leave behind. But it won't happen overnight. You'll probably not even notice until one day you're walking along a pavement holding the hand of your beloved grandchild when you reach a tiny, nondescript bit of wall sticking out into it, and you'll stop walking, having to pull at the child. Lean against a tiny, nondescript bit of wall and gesture to the surrounding area, saying those words which all Gibraltarians use to mark the passage of time in the world. Yo me bañaba ahí de Chico. Thank you.